Welcome everyone, thanks so much for watching. So we've had a very intense couple of weeks filming some very high intensity footage. So this video is going to be bringing it down a notch into a topic that I honestly really enjoy. So today's going to be all about cooking in the field, tips and tricks to help you do that, and the types of equipment that we use and options that you have when it comes to cooking and mess in the field. This is all stuff that I use. I've used these for many, many years. Everything's very worn. And with that, let's get into cooking and mess in the field. So first things first, what are we trying to accomplish when it comes to our mess kits in the field? Well, first of all, it's going to be the transfer of heat. And I want you guys to really think about that when it comes to your cooking options. What we're essentially trying to do is transfer that heat from a fire or a heat source as effectively and efficiently as we can into our water or food. And all the options you're going to see today are going to be different ways of doing that. Some are better, some are worse. And again, we're going to discuss what those things are. Now, like everything in the field, all the items that we see have to be multi-purpose. Oftentimes, cooking gear can take up a lot of space, a lot of room, and a lot of weight. And that's why I think in the tactical and military communities, it's often overlooked. But anyone who's spent any long period of time in the field can tell you that having a warm meal, being able to make a cup of tea or coffee, is really key to morale. As well as this, these tools can also be used for hygiene. I recently just did a Milsom West event, and those guys would have seen me constantly running my mess tin, either for cooking, brewing, or washing myself. An ability to have warm water when everyone else is wet and cold is a huge bonus. But what's more important is, as a squad leader, it was really important that I had the ability to offer warm water at any time. So as long as one of you guys have this ability in your squad, it's going to be really important for morale reasons, food reasons, and again, we can perform hygiene, be it boiling water or washing ourselves with the tools that you're about to see. So with that, let's get into the physical vessels that you'll actually be boiling water or cooking your meals in. So in front of me, I have three of my favorite, and I absolutely love these guys. So what we're going to do is bring the camera closer and go over each one and why I like them. All right, so now that you guys are a little bit closer, we can go over all the different ones. So these were all trying to figure out to do again that job, and it took me a long time to figure it out. And I've been doing this stuff since I could walk, guys, and I've really boiled it down to these three items. The first thing you'll notice is there is no cast iron, and we'll get into why that is in a moment. But the first one is going to be my absolute favorite, and that is the British Army mess tin. Guys, if you're doing any sort of field operation, you absolutely need these. This is, I've got to wash them again, I was using them this weekend. This is the bread and butter. You get two containers in one, and that's really important. Oftentimes, I like to put my heating elements, be that my hexi stove, my gas stove, my what we call a brew kit, so soup, tea, coffee, creamer, water purification, and you can fit all this into here as well. What's really nice is that if you want to run them separately, oftentimes you'll have a cooking one and a hygiene one. And the way you use these is you put it on top of your stove, and then you actually use this to insulate while you're cooking underneath. On top, I've also been able to actually dry towels and socks on top of them as well as hanging them off here. You'll notice this is down, and I'll demonstrate this, but this is part of the stability when you're cooking with it. The British mess tins, I think, are some of the best field cooking items because they're multi-use. Not only can you fold a ration pack in half and they fit perfectly inside the small one, but they're also used for hygiene. This is a perfect wash basin. What I like to have is my warm soapy water and then warm clean water, and I can wash in one, do all my hygiene, and then I can rinse off with the other. What's really nice is what I like to do after I cook a meal, I've got the boiling water, and that's perfect for, again, hygiene or having a brew right then and there. Overall, I think the British Army mess tins are a crucial piece of equipment for the field, and I highly recommend them. Another reason why I love them is if we grab my webbing over here, the rear webbing pouch on PLC equipment is actually designed to perfectly hold your mess tins. Look at that, like a glove, guys. Perfectly, right? Crossfire did a great job with this in terms of the dimensions. And I find putting that mess tin on my webbing, again, gives me the option to perform hygiene, rations, purify water, and is a huge boost. And having it functionally fit into my fighting equipment or my 24-hour load is a massive bonus. The downside to these other options is they're very awkward and they're very hard to fit into your equipment unless it's your main pack. But with the British Army mess tins, you can have it on your fighting order ready to go. So the way the Americans like to do this is they have one of these GI cups, and this fits into your webbing also. And they say that this suffices. Guys, in my opinion, I didn't even include it in my list because I don't think it does at all. This is fantastic for keeping your canteens in. It keeps the structure of the webbing. Again, this fits in there perfectly. And that's all fine and good, but you can't do anything with it besides drink. And I'd bet that you can't even drink out of this. If you've ever had a hot drink out of this and had that metal touch your lips, you burn yourself pretty bloody badly. I think it's kind of useless. Echo Mike, why do you have it in your webbing then? It keeps the shape of the webbing. It allows me to take my canteen in and out very quickly, and it keeps the form of the pouch. Yeah, I could use it for a cold drink. You can't really wash out of it. GIs used their helmets back in the day. They didn't use these. So the British Army mess tin, you can purify, you can cook, you can wash, you can have two vessels, guys. That's huge. Again, this I don't think is a good option. It's also not close topped like these. You can't seal it off. So if there's nasties flying around, you're sure to get extra protein in your meal. So that's why I prefer, and my number one pick, honestly, is the British Army mess tin. So we've gone over that, why I like it so much. Let's go over the other options that we have here. Let's go over the other options and what those are good for and why I still will carry these in my equipment. Okay, so my quest to have these guys was really one of two reasons. One, I wanted the closed lid option. Two, I wanted a pourable option. But three, I wanted a hanging option. So the hanging option is really important because with the mess tins, all we can really do is a ground stove. With a hanging option, we can hang it over a fire. And for stuff like bushcraft and your outdoor uses, that's a really good thing to have. And it was a feature that I wanted and that I was looking for. Another feature I wanted was the option of handles. Guys, these pots get very, very hot. This has been a great one for me. I've used this many, many times. I like to keep my stuff nice and clean. Where's this one made? This one's made in, this is a Snow Peak made in Japan. And it's really nice quality stainless steel, guys. Don't cheap out on your mess kits. Going quick note materials, these are made of aluminium, the British military ones. And there's rumors that it's unhealthy for you, drinking or, eating directly out of these. I haven't done too much research on that, but my response to that is I shoot so much, I've lead poisoning and I eat so much tuna. Mercury poisoning is more of a worry for me than a little bit of aluminium from a mess tin. So stainless steel is that modern cooking option for that reason. It's very hygienic. It's really nice. So this snow one's been great. Same principle. I put my gas stove inside here. I like to keep everything nice and together, and this is deep enough you can do that. One thing I don't like is that the lid kind of can just fall off in my pack. It kind of slides off. But it's been a good option if I want like a day trip doing bushcraft. And again, I want to hang over an open fire like so. The only downside I found is these handles will sometimes, if there's water in here, they kind of come out like that. So it's been all right. But again, the handle option is really nice when you are trying to pour and do things of that nature. Coming over to this guy. So this is by Fire Maple, and I've been really happy with this. No one's asked me to talk about any of these products, guys. I'm just naming them because in the past people have complained that I haven't named things. So this is the Fire Maple, and I think if I had to pick between these two, I'd pick the Fire Maple. But again, the Fire Maple doesn't have a handle, right? Although you could argue that it does, but it's just less versatile than the the Snow Peak. What's nice about this is it's got the lid option. Now the lid has a little bit of a rim there, so it does actually fit on. It didn't stay that time. I've got stuff inside there. Again, I've got my brew kit. So the fire maple is nice and deep. You can see there, it's got a nice, almost like conical shape to it. And it's serving me well, guys. There you go. With nothing pushing on it, that lid stays on, which I like. Fire maple is really nice. You can fit a lot of water inside here. You can boil a lot. It's got that closed container. It's got the pouring option also, and it's got that hanging option, which I think is a must for bushcraft. But for tactical use where an open fire isn't going to be preferable, that's why I prefer the mess tins. Again, you're getting that 2 container option. But when it comes to bushcraft, guys, I've been really happy with the fire maple. Took a gamble on it. I don't think this was that cheap. I think it was like $50 or $60. I can't remember the price of this guy, but the mess tins are like 10 bucks, guys. So there you have it. There's the cooking vessels. Downside to these two, obviously, is you cannot cook out of them per se. You can't really wash out of them. You can create warm water. If you have like a collapsible basin, that's an option. But then it's a matter of, okay, do you want this, or kind of what are you doing? You could carry a mess tin with you as well, but then you're doubling up. So that's really up to you guys, but I find that these 3 options for tactical and bushcraft use are the best. Mess tins, fantastic. Again, goes right in your webbing. Something like a Snow Peak, good for general bushcraft use, maybe some tactical. Fire maple, fantastic for a night out when you're enjoying the outdoors. So you have it, guys. That's what I like and don't like about them all. They all fit a different mission, but out of all of them, I use this one the most, and then these 2 I kind of trade in between. In the winter time, this never leaves my webbing, so I'll usually take the fire maple and then hand this off to somebody who might need it. So with that, let's get into types of stoves and types of fuel that we can carry on ourselves. So now we can talk about our fuels. We spoke about our containers, but how do we actually, again, effectively transfer that heat? Starting with what I think is the most reliable and best, it's got to be the British Army. I know I'm biased, right? The British Army hexamine. So hexamine is a solid fuel tablet. It is not what you get at Walmart. These things will get you high. They burn very, very hot, very efficiently. And they're pretty hard to get in the US, but if you can get them, if you have a source in the UK that can bring them over, I highly recommend getting British Army hexamine. Usually it's about 8 tablets in a wax, almost like a cardboard box with wax sealed, and they never fail me, guys. Oftentimes you'll break them off. So this is 2 cubes actually stuck together, and what you do is you break them off into chunks, and a quarter of a block is enough to boil a mess tin of water. So they're really nice. What's nice about the hexamine blocks is that they're controlled heat source. Only the block burns. The British Army recently switched to a product called Fire Dragon, which is a gel tablet. I used one of those recently. The hexamine stick stays in a block and just burns. It's almost like a mini stove. The Fire Dragon literally melts and like goes everywhere. It's not horrible. It absolutely could have been a fire hazard. The reason I like the hexamine cookers is this is actually a German one, and this folds up. You put your fuel in there, and then your mess tin on top. The reason I like the solid fuel is you can use it to dry stuff off. It doesn't get too crazy hot, but it gets hot enough to, again, cook, do admin with. We can also break off certain chunks of it. We can use it to start other fires, and oftentimes what we do is we use a block of hexi, and then if we're not in a tactical environment or it's safe enough, we'll add like little sticks of fuel as well, just so we're not going through hexi as much. I like to keep my hexi waterproof, even though it does come in wax, inside my stove. Lighter obviously is a must. Some duct tape for anything you want to use it for, but the fibers of duct tape burn really nicely to get fires going in the rain. So guys, when you're going with solid fuel, I recommend a really good source, like a military version. The civilian ones dry out very quickly, so if you leave them for a month or two, they might be dry and useless. The hexamine, I mean, this stuff's probably from 2010, and I literally used it 2 days ago, and it burns awesome. So, big fan of the Hexi cooker. Again, keeping that with your mess tin is, I'm a huge component of. Just keep it together, guys. That way, when you grab your mess tin, you've got rations, food, soup, a way to start a fire, your spoon, all in one little handy dandy package. Moving on from the hexamine, you've got the gas stove fuel. You know, guys, I reluctantly stood away from this stuff for many years. I don't know why, but I recently got this tiny little bugger. I mean, this weighs nothing. The size and weight, you know, is pretty much comparable. And I recently went through a whole can of this at the, again, Milson West event game. So what are the pros and cons of gas fuel? First of all, you have instant fire, instant heat, very aggressively, and at a temperature that you can control in a very small, lightweight package. A fuel canister this size, let's see how much this is. So this is 110 grams. A full one of these lasted me the entire 48 hours, and I made about, I'd say, I boiled water probably about 6-7 times, and then 2 other times beyond that. So about 10, burning it 10 times. Wasn't really paying attention, to be honest with you guys. I was just kind of like letting it sit, ran it for a long time, did some hygiene stuff. So, you know, I'd say about 48 hours of hard operational use at just above sea level, about 1,200 feet elevation. You know, summer temperatures, so 60 to 80 degrees. You'll get about 10 burns out of those guys, which was, again, really nice to know. Whereas with the hexamine, we can add fuel. With this, you're stuck with gas. The other bad thing was, once I used this up, I was stuck with it, right? I had to either bin it, but again, I'd have to carry all that room if I had to carry that out of an operational environment. With the Hexi, it just disappears. So you lose the weight, and again, the weight's negligible with this. So, you know, again, you got to choose what you got to do. But for wintertime, instant flame, honestly, I'm going to start using these a lot more, and I'm very happy with it. So I will always carry Hexi on me. That is a non-negotiable. But the gas stove I've been very impressed with. Get a quality burner. This one's by Pathfinder. So get a quality burner, guys. Don't cheap out. This was about 30 bucks for this little guy, and I've been very happy with it. It comes with a spare O-ring. Try not to lose that. If you lose that, you're shit out of luck. I hear it will burn, it just won't burn efficiently. So there you go. When it comes to using these, you can see on the side it has a little diagram of putting it in a pot of water and where it floats. If I half use this, what I do is I put it in the water, make sure that the air bubble caused by the conical indent is gone. So put it in the water, turn it sideways, go down, and then let it float to the top. Wherever it floats is how much gas you have left. What I do is I mark it wherever. So the one I used for 48 hours that ran out, I was actually a quarter of the way done anyway. So probably 4 days then you'd be good for. But just make sure that you do mark them to know how much fuel you have left. And as always, if you absolutely need it, guys, make sure that you just bring a fresh one to the field, you know, don't risk it. So they are lightweight, they are good. Again, I'm a big fan of the gas stoves, so that's that. Very good option. At least one guy in your squad or platoon should have one, in my opinion. Final one is going to be good old candles. So you could actually boil a pot of water with a candle. It's going to take a while, but it is an option, and it's one that I don't think should be overlooked. They're very good for like shelter, light, stuff of that nature. And if you have to start a fire or dry out wood, I'm a big proponent of just carrying 2 heavy-duty, thick wax candles. For not only, you know, say if you need to do some hygiene and you don't want to run your gas stove, because honestly, this stuff gets so hot so quickly, it almost becomes uncomfortable and you end up wasting that energy. The Hexi is easier to control, but if you want to just warm up some water, a candle would be a good idea. With the hanging options with our pots, this is where open fires can come in. But again, when in a tactical scenario, when we want heat, quickly, efficiently, and in a controlled manner, gas is definitely the way to go. So when it comes to cooking options, this guy, how we actually suspend our cooking items, this little stove comes with these little claws, and your mess tin simply just sits on top of there. Make sure your ground's even, but again guys, what you're going to do is you're going to have it on the ground, and then you use this tail end to support it. With the hexamine cooker, you simply deploy it and that's ready to go. What I'm going to do now is I want to show you guys a secret little method if you don't want to go out and spend the money on any of this stuff, how you can still carry cooking equipment. Okay, so here's my secret little method. It is for construction nails. Guys, if you don't want to carry any of this stuff and you just want a way to suspend a cooking vessel over a fire, some wire, steel wire, and nails are going to be fantastic. So how do you use these? Well, very simply, you just put them over your fire, and this is all you do. Just stick them in the ground, and then you have an instant way to suspend that mess kit. And get these all even. There you go. And that's it. It's an instant way to cook a meal. You can have a little fire going. You could make a little tunnel fire, and you can use the nails to suspend your cookware so you can still get that airflow. Echo Mike, what do you do if it's on a flat surface and you can't stick these in the ground? Well, here's the cool part. You get your wire, you get your nails, you put the nails around the wire, around 3/4 of the way up. You simply twist that wire like so. And now you make a tripod. So what this does is this locks in like that. You put it over your fire, and then you can get it nice and tight. And again, guys, I'm just doing this quickly to demonstrate here. And this is kind of like grassy anyway. So you take it like that, get tension on those nails, like so. Probably got to get this a little bit tighter. But you guys are getting the idea. Basically what you're doing is you're twisting like that, a little O-ring, twisting, get it nice and tight, and then you're spreading those nails evenly. There you go, like so. There we go. So that's on a very uneven surface, guys. It took me a minute, again, just trying to demonstrate there quickly. But you're using that wire to create almost like a tripod. And then you can cook over an open fire in the open on concrete or somewhere where you cannot stick those nails into the surface. This is a very good method. There you go, just like that. You know, but the bad thing about this is those nails get hot. They take a while to cool down. But if you want to go super ultra, you know, survival man, light backpacking, literally just your mess tins, these can actually go inside your mess tins. If you don't want to carry a hexamine cooker, then that's an option. But when you add fuel, those weigh the same. There's a size difference. And then even so with this, about the same weight, because these are solid steel. Obviously a little bit more room with this guy. But as I like to present to you guys, just options, options, options. Suit what's best for you. So you have it, guys. There's some of my personal favorite ways when it comes to cooking in the field. Overall, again, I'm a big fan of the mess tins and the hexi. The gas stoves are growing on me, and I will always bring one to the field going forward. So what are some other things that you need to consider? Well, that's going to be your KFS, or knife, fork and spoon. So this guy is really important. I'm a big fan of a spork with a bit of paracord. Make sure that this handle's long enough. This one's a little bit short. When you dig into your rations, it just kind of helps. When it comes to drinking, make sure you have a cup. This is a Swedish military one. It folds up, and it's pretty small, but I find it does the trick. Usually what I'll do is I'll put my mosquito net inside there, just keep it with my mess tins. You can put anything inside there, fuel tablets, maybe not fuel tablets if you're going to drink out of it, but candle, lighter, maybe something of that nature, tea, coffee. But it folds up, folds in half. It's rubbery, so it does have that flex feature. That's the big downside to a lot of cooking equipment, is it has zero flex because it is a metal object. So again, fitting it into your equipment can be quite difficult. Guys, consider your KFS and where you're going to drink. Again, you're not going to drink out of these because they get so hot you will burn yourself. So do not do that. You need a physical cup of some sort. Guys, that's all I've got for you for this one. A lot of really exciting stuff to come. I appreciate your time as always. We released 2 really cool videos, the thermal video and our 2 gunfight videos. There's more to come on that, more team tactics, more individual stuff. We've got some amazing guests coming on the channel. We just filmed some great stuff with Prepared Pathfinder. He came over and visited, so that content you guys are absolutely going to love. Again, guys, great stuff coming. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate how big the channel's gotten. It means a lot. It's, again, this is my hobby, guys. I'm a civilian. This is my hobby. So passing on this knowledge has just been an absolute pleasure, and I hope that it helps. So as always, guys, look after your mates, look after each other, and I'll see you on the next one.